Te souviens-tu de nos 20 ans? Tu posais nu et bien souvent, j'évitais d'être trop jaloux.
Bonsoir, sweet world. It's January 25th, 2025, Saturday night no dunks, coming to you from Paris, France. I'm JD Skeets with my partner in crime the last few days, super producer JD.
Hello. Oh, bonsoir.
Bonsoir. The red wine has been poured. I say we cheers right now.
Cheers.
Cheers to a fantastic week.
What
did you go with here?
This is a Beaujolais, a Morgon.
Okay.
Beaujolais. No, not a Beaujolais. My bad. I think it's a Bordeaux.
He doesn't know what he just ordered.
I asked for the driest they had.
Okay.
And this is the driest I have. And it's awesome.
This is a first. We are set up here in our hotel lobby.
Yes.
We just got back
That's right.
from the Accor Arena, where we watched Game 2 between the Spurs and the Pacers. Not going to be a lot of game talk here on this pod. We'll talk about our week here in Paris for the NBA Paris games. Similar game in a weird way to the first one on Thursday.
Yes.
Which had Wembanyama taking over at the end of the third quarter, blocking everything, diming up guys, scoring, sort of blew the game open, and then they ran away with it in the fourth. It was the reverse here tonight with
Correct.
Indiana superstar Tyrese Haliburton scoring, I think, 16 straight there at the end of the third quarter. He couldn't miss. He turned into Steph Curry. I'm surprised he didn't drop the, night, nui, nui. And then it was a blowout in the fourth quarter.
Correct.
So they come all this way, both these teams, and they leave with a win apiece.
Yeah, a nice revenge game on a Saturday night here in Paris.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. You mentioned before that, when we were watching the game tonight, you're like, the first quarter of the first game felt like an all-star game almost.
Yeah, it was pretty loose.
It was very loose. It was supposed to be a home game for the Pacers, but the crowd was definitely there to see Wemby and the Spurs. And maybe that got in their head maybe a little bit. I don't know.
It definitely looked like the Pacers played with a little more oomph here in Game 2 on Saturday night. Yeah, defensively, they were a lot more locked in.
Yeah.
And it did feel like, hey guys, we didn't come all this way to just lose 2 here to the Spurs. Like, remember, the Pacers are a better team. They've been one of the best teams since the calendar flipped to 2025. Spurs sort of the opposite of that. So it's like, let's at least get one of these.
Yeah.
And again, Haliburton took over, and they ran away with it. Sent the crowd home. I guess a little disappointed. A little bit. What do you think of the crowd for both of these games, the production here in Paris? What do you think?
I thought they did an incredible job. The arena, the Accor Arena, is a weird arena. You mentioned it before.
Very weird.
In terms of the exterior is completely covered in grass. Like the wall, it's like a slanted wall.
Yeah, slope.
Yeah. I guess for environment reasons, but
it's also old.
It's pretty
like
old, yeah.
40 to 45 years old.
Yeah,
so
and
it's quite old.
It felt old. It's in the bowels.
Yeah.
Where normally the bowels are never sexy necessarily, but the upstairs concourse felt like what a modern stadium feels like.
Sure, and I feel like they must have done that recently.
For the
concourse.
Olympics, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But what about the crowd?
The crowd was amazing. I mean, they were completely into it tonight. I don't know if they did this the last game because we didn't get there that early, but they kind of gave like an orientation. I felt like they were like training the crowd to say, when you hear boom, boom, you go defense.
That's right.
Boom, boom. Defense.
It was taking me back to early Raptors days, if I'm being honest.
Totally.
Here is how basketball is played. And the crowd, they were into it. And there were a lot of Spurs fans, of course. It's like 99% Spurs fans, or if not Wembanyama fans. But you're right, they had those 2 guys on the mic. One of the weirder things was when someone would go to the free throw line, I guess majority of the time it would be a Spurs player, we'll say 2 shots, and you will chant it back to us.
Yeah.
But it was in English, that part.
Yeah. Like, what's the French word for defense? I mean, is it 2 syllables? Why not go with that? But anyways.
Yeah.
And then at one point, and the crowd wasn't doing it. They were doing
absolutely. it. Absolutely. 2 shots. Yeah.
Until there was 1 shot. Yeah. Announcer made a little boo-boo.
Yep.
Said 2 shots, but Not everybody was there. Hold on, man.
No, see, that's when I was like, okay, respect to this crowd.
They know
didn't really say it
on.
bad. They're like, that's not 2 shots. That was an and one. It's only 1 shot. Say 1 shot.
Yeah.
But those guys, they were trying to get the crowd into it. And man, then the anthems hit. Holy crap.
Chills, man. Like,
for both the American anthem and the French anthem.
Totally.
Yeah.
There was like a pot, like the American anthem. I can't believe we're talking about the anthems, but the American anthem, same singer both nights.
Yeah.
I think for both. And, she hit a high note in the middle of the song, and she got a pop from the French.
The crowd was like,
it was amazing. It was great. And, and then of course the French national anthem was awesome. Like, I got chills with the entire room.
I know. Very dramatic anthem too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
and then she was doing the singer was doing okay, I'll stop singing, now you take over, and then she would come back in. She was doing that flawlessly. So they were ready. I think the game 2 crowd wasn't as crazy as the game 1 crowd, and I mean maybe some of that's a bit because it went differently and the Pacers ran away with it, but just from the jump there was that Wemby fever, and there were way more Wemby chants, or way more MVP chants.
Yeah.
We still heard some tonight at times, and he finished with 20 and 12 and then checked out when it was a blowout and got a good standing ovation or a good ovation. But man, it was Wemby mania. That guy must be exhausted.
I think he's having the time of his life.
He's embraced it.
Yeah, seeing him. He showed up at the celebrity game last night.
He did, which apparently was a packed house too.
Crazy.
For look, a lot of French celebrities, so why would we know them? But
right. And
I'll tell you what, I was offended when I saw some of the people in this celebrity game.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's a woman, I don't really know how she became famous, I think through YouTube. I'm sure she's very funny.
Yes.
I believe her name is Studio Danielle.
Okay.
Has over 1 million followers, blah, 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 blah. But an older woman who I don't think's ever played basketball.
Yeah, you were...
So again, I was like, damn, I'll never make it.
Yeah, rumor has it, not a lot of them knew how to play basketball.
It wasn't the greatest game ever played. But you're right, Wemby was there. He's been everywhere.
Yeah.
But I keep thinking, of course the NBA would probably want the Spurs back here again.
You would think.
But the Spurs probably don't want that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On one hand, it's great for the brand. You're growing the brand here and all that. But it is exhausting.
Yeah.
And you're putting your players, and especially your star players, through a lot in Wembanyama. You're asking a lot, I think. You do it once, and maybe you come back in a couple of years. But I'd be sort of shocked if the Spurs are here again next year.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
It's sort of what we hear. The rumor is that the players don't love All-Star when you're an All-Star because there's so many social things that they have to do, and then you're totally exhausted by the end of the weekend, and Wemby must be feeling that for sure.
Has to. And an incredible ambassador.
Oh my God.
He's just a natural.
Yeah.
When he took the mic before this game 1, obviously, and had the crowd and eating out of the palm of his hands, and just everything I've been following on social media, he's just popped up everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's he's got time for everyone too. It's not here, take the photo, now I go. And so he engages with people. He's just a good kid. It'll be interesting to see who comes. And will we ever get an entertaining game here? This is the other part that sucks. I mean, I was disappointed that both turned into just snoozers in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Because that's now 5 games here, regular season games in Paris. We've had to have a really competitive game.
Right. So what's the answer? Send number 1 and number 1 of each conference.
No, the answer is to rig it. The answer is to tell the official, hey, let's get that team back into it. Let's put on a show here. But no.
You know what? They were the Pacers played hard tonight, and Wemby put on a show the first night. So I don't think the French are annoyed. I don't think I think they enjoyed it.
They're here for the spectacle. I do want. Do you think tickets went on sale at the exact same time?
Yeah.
And if they did, I was wondering how many people were there in the arena for game 1 on Thursday night and were also there tonight for game 2, which started a little earlier here on Saturday.
Yeah. I didn't recognize anybody from night 1.
Besides the media, I saw Tim Reynolds both nights. I saw Joe Varden both nights. Confirmed. NBA sickos, those guys.
Yeah.
But I wonder.
For sure. The
answer has to be some people.
Yeah. There's definitely sickos here. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Did you see anything wow, that's French for an NBA game? Anything come to mind?
two dapper dudes walking through the concourse with champagne glasses in their hands, like frosted plastic.
Double fisting.
Double
both of them.
fisting champagne.
Yeah, that was.
Ooh la la.
Yeah, that was.
It was
It was fun seeing people sipping on champagne, like in the concourse
Yeah.
and walking to their seats. Just something you don't see at an NBA game in the North America.
Yeah, not at all.
I don't even know. Can you buy champagne at the Fortress in Atlanta?
Question. Champagne is. I mean, I know it was huge, and we are in France. But
Yes.
I mean, like on the flight over here, we were served dinner, which was also weird. But
Yeah.
they served us dinner, and would you like some red wine with that? I'm like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and would you like some champagne? I'm like, yeah,
absolutely.
of course. So it's just like, all right. So I'm starting this like.
Why did you say it was weird that they served you dinner on a flight? Just because of the time?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in international flights it happens, but
Because I didn't even eat.
Well, you missed out.
I
Man.
slept.
Delicious.
But they woke me for breakfast,
Yeah,
and I respected
yeah, yeah.
that. A little tap on my foot. Got very lucky. Very lucky on our flights.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty empty, the plane. And we each had a complete row in the middle.
Four seat row. Yeah.
Like I was not, as comfortable as you could be, but lying across 4 seats, but like stretched out,
yeah.
curled up, a million pillows, a million blankets.
Oh, like
perfect.
4 pillows and 4 blankets.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great.
It was great. Who needs a sleeping pod?
Oh, those suckers, man. They paid like 10 times the amount.
Exactly.
I had a better sleep than anyone in first class.
That is definitely not true. It's definitely not
Probably not true, but it was a pretty good sleep for the red eye, I guess, that we took. And heading back tomorrow to Atlanta. What else from the trip? I mean, we can talk about either more from the game or other things we did, because we feel like we've done a lot.
I mean, again, the production of the game itself, I thought was amazing inside the arena.
Yep.
I mean, there wasn't a ton. I guess the first night it felt like there wasn't a lot of stuff in between, like activation.
I agree with
stuff.
that. I agree with that. They ramped it up here. It felt like
Yeah,
on a Saturday. And I was wondering if that was like because it was the Spurs home game, and the first one was the Pacers, and it was like, this is not going to be a home game. Let's not go overboard on like cheer for us, the home team, because nobody cares.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But I don't know, man.
It was definitely seemed like the Pacers production and then the Spurs production because the Coyote was at tonight's game and what is it, a cat?
It's a it's a cat.
A cat.
Boomer? Is it Boomer? It's Boomer.
Boomer. I don't think that
Boom, baby.
I don't think the French crowd was into any of their antics.
Either mascot.
Yeah.
No.
They weren't
What do you
really-
think they liked the most? They loved Christian and Scooby.
Oh, okay.
Scooby,
Yeah.
of course, the star.
Yes.
Go check out our short with the both of them. We reversed roles. We made the man, we made the human do the dog tricks.
Yeah, exactly.
Or see if you could. Great sports, Christian and Scooby, but they pop for Scooby. They generally like the trampoline dunking.
Yeah, who doesn't though?
It's true. I feel like they have more respect for the Cirque du Soleil type acrobatics type moves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And
but
fair
mascots, like, they don't do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's a guy in a suit. Who cares?
What else from Paris here?
Paris.
You've eaten well.
We have eaten and
drank well. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we did like the thing where you just try to find a bad meal and you can't do it. You can't do it. And then we went out for an awesome meal that you reserved last night. We were like, maybe we jinxed it because we actually planned this one.
I know, I was concerned.
Oh, it came through.
Because like you said, all week long, it's like, okay, either location reasons or we're starving reasons, so let's just I guess pick that place. We'll just roll the dice.
Yeah.
But it's Paris. Almost every place is amazing food.
Incredible.
It was just like perfect. And then I was like, oh yeah, watch this. The one place I actually made reservations for, we're going to go to, and it's going to be horrible.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
No, it was awesome. And it's also Fashion Week here in Paris. And we got a little taste of it last night.
We did.
We met up with a buddy of yours who was here for Fashion Week, 10 days working straight through. And he came with us to dinner, and then he took us out to the left bank, and we went to the third at Endosmont.
Yeah, oh, good.
And
good.
Just ended up in a bar full of Fashion Week people.
How old did you feel last night?
A million years old.
Oh my God.
A million years.
It was the hippest place we went all week here.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
It was so much fun.
But it was like, dear Lord, I'm surprised they let us in.
Yeah. Those guys were happy to see us.
Yeah, they were.
Security.
They were.
Yeah.
Fashion Week happening at the same time as the NBA Paris games. We also today went to NBA Paris House,
yes.
I guess it's called. I still don't know if it's called NBA House Paris or NBA Paris House. La Maison. I swear it's been called both things, unless I'm going crazy, and at this point I am. But it's like an activation thing, and shout out to a guy, Keith, that helped us get us in there, sort of before it opened up to the public. I mean, crowds like lined up for blocks today.
Yeah.
Which it's a free thing to get in, and then you do all the stuff, and that's great. And there's some branding, of course. There's Foot Locker there, 2K, but then there was cool that the Pacers had the LED court, and then the Spurs had like this sort of like boutique-y, very French, like you can get macarons and some other chocolate, and they brought their trophies. Like they were flexing on that.
Totally.
But I thought it was okay. Yeah.
I mean, it was great, and it was great to see the crowd there. I've seen similar lineups for like it's NBA Jam in Phoenix, Arizona, right?
So Crossover, I guess it's called now. Yeah.
Right, exactly. It was. I just love seeing the French fans out there, and the hoops bus or what it's called.
The hoop bus.
The hoop bus.
See, I don't think they bring the one from America over. They don't put it on like a barge and send it over. I don't think. But it did say Le Hoop Bus. I did notice that.
A little decal. They may have just added that. But
the weather's been a little rough.
Okay. It's January. It's Paris. What do you want, man?
For it to not rain would be a good start.
Yeah, that would be nice.
But you know what? We said this, like, if it's going to rain on you sort of all week, sort of on and off, but like drizzle or rain, basically the entire time we've been here, and it's like 5 days now, not really a better city for it to rain in than Paris. It's still beautiful.
The lighting is incredible
for
photos.
Yeah.
It really is. And you walk out of the hotel and it's like slick streets, It's like in movies they hose down the streets, before they call action. So it's just picturesque. I mean, yes. Is it gloomy? Yes. But again, we're in France in January. What are you gonna do?
Go inside. Have a glass of wine.
Have a glass of wine. Enjoy some fromage.
Right. What else? How do you feel like the work week went for us in terms of churning out the content?
Hey, we did our best. I think we came up with some decent stuff. I can't believe how much mileage we got out of the Hennessy run that you were.
That happened like 24 hours before we came here. That like, hey, do you want to come to this Hennessy run? Like, yeah, sure, yeah. I'm gonna be jet lagged like crazy, but yeah.
And shout out to JB. It was a pretty amazing activation or event, I guess.
Just the opportunity to be like, go play on the court they played on these last 2 games.
Exactly. And we got a good short out of that.
Yep.
And both of us were zombies because we had just arrived. So off the red eye and basically went right there.
Yeah.
And and shout out to JB, the guy who invited us. So
and then Jan Mahinmi.
Jan Mahinmi was there. Just we didn't even know he was going to be there.
He's also been everywhere.
He has.
I know he's a former NBA player, and obviously French ties of being a Frenchman, but like that guy's everywhere too.
Yeah.
And again, like, okay, that's like, oh, he's here. He'll maybe take a photo. Yeah. He'll maybe sign something for these Hennessy reps or whoever these guys were that were part of the run. No, he's officiating the game. He's calling fouls on me left and right.
You got more fouls than anybody.
Got a little insane, I thought.
You almost fouled out.
Yeah, I probably had 4 or 5 fouls. Yeah, I at least had 4 fouls. Only one of them was a real foul.
Right.
He had it out for me. I was a little psycho. I was playing maybe a little too much defense for a very casual pickup game.
Hey, you were taking it extremely seriously.
That's right.
I mean, JB, the guy, again, who invited us, he did put you on his team. So maybe there was a little pressure there on you to perform for JB. Like,
yeah. Well, hey, look, we didn't lose.
No.
We didn't lose. Our Pacers team went 3-0.
Yeah.
And then obviously the real Pacers team went 1-1.
Right.
So I'm just saying. Did I have a better performance here in Paris than TJ McConnell? Maybe.
Yeah, it's possible. It's being discussed. It's being discussed on the internet
it's
right
being
now.
discussed. There's a lot of discourse around me looking like a child standing next to Jan Mahimi and me playing like TJ McConnell. And honestly, there's a lot of truth in both those things. Anything else we got to let the people know from your time here?
I mean, it's been great. I mean, Paris is awesome, man. Like, I can't be blasé about it, pardon the pun.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
Well, okay, can I jump in here? I did a quick hit with some guys that cover the NBA from Denmark.
Oh, yeah.
And before we obviously did the video, I said, how's the week going? Or what are you thinking of Paris? I'm sure you've been here before. They live in Denmark. Hate Paris.
What, really?
Despise it.
Why?
Their whole thing is like, everybody, they talk about Europe, they talk about Paris, the city of love, the city of love, and they're like, there are a million cooler, better spots in Europe.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yes.
Hey, look, I went to bat for Paris. I was like, I hear you, and yes, there are other amazing spots.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate to been to a couple of them, as have you. But I'm like, come on, guys, like, can't get a bad meal, like we said. It is pretty damn picturesque.
Yeah.
One of the easiest cities to get around with the metro. Come on, it's got some things going for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, yes, it was raining, but Denmark is, I'm sure, pretty cold right now comparatively. I haven't checked my weather app.
It's true. Have you been to Copenhagen?
No.
Oh, geez, you should go.
It's the Paris of Scandinavia, they say.
It is great. It's great. It was pretty funny. I just never heard somebody say that. You're like, you know what, Paris is overrated.
Yeah, but I mean, if your neighbor is like the best looking guy on the block, you're like, okay, fuck that guy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe that's what was going on. A little jealousy is what you're saying.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, I don't know. I've never been to Copenhagen, so, you know what? I'll go to Copenhagen,
and then
I can finally say that Paris is definitely better than Copenhagen.
And you'll have no idea what you're drinking, just like you do here. Yeah, just one of those bottles.
Yeah,
what color is it? Sure, surprise me.
Isn't that where they have like the pickled shark or whatever that makes everybody barf? Like,
oh, really?
Is that Denmark? It's one of the. Maybe it's Finland. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Now you're really offending.
Everybody's coming after me today.
Flame him.
Look, I'm sorry. I'm in Paris. It's recency bias. I'm charmed. I am charmed by this city, and the people have been amazing. Like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, no edit. Like, I always hear this, like, Paris, like the Parisians are so snobby and whatever, and yeah, they are. They're Parisians.
Yeah.
And I love it.
You love it. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. It's
but they've been nice to us. They
absolutely have been. And I know the other thing for some Americans here, when you go out and eat or go to get a drink, it's like, it's slow. It's slower than like America's like, oh, you've sat down, here are your menus, what can I get you? I'll be right back. I'll be back.
Here's a gallon of water.
Yeah. And it's like, that's not it. Like you'll find grab a seat and then wait 10 minutes. Like then I'll maybe get to you.
That's why there's cigarettes, guys.
You haven't smoked a cigarette?
No, of course not.
No.
It's a disgusting habit.
It is a disgusting habit, but for as crappy as the weather has been, there are still a lot of people outside on patios, and you're like, whoa, it's cold and raining. Yeah. You're addicted to cigarettes. Turns out it's true, because, man, that looks like a miserable place to sit right now.
But you're totally right. Like, the vibe here is just like, sit down and just chill out, relax. They'll come to you.
Yeah.
They'll get to you.
One other thing maybe to touch on was we caught Adam Silver's press conference, which was on Thursday before Game 1. Packed house for this. I mean, there was not a seat to be had. We were like lined against the walls way back. All the press there to hear what Commissioner Silver had to say. He spoke about three main things, I would say. He talked a lot about this European expansion for like this NBA European League, that there were rumors a couple months ago, and he addressed that. He talked about the new All-Star format, and then he talked about a little bit about the idea of like complaints about three-point shooting in the NBA and maybe how to fix it or not fix it, don't overreact and stuff like that. Those were the three main things. Did you have any takeaways, or are you surprised by anything he said?
I mean, the thing he said about the USA versus the world
All-Star
suggestion
game
for
format
All-Star
that a
game.
lot of people have thrown out there. They think it's going to save it, which I roll my eyes at, but yeah.
Yeah, and he brought up, I thought, an amazing point, which is there are 14 players who are in the NBA who are from France alone. So you could put a roster of French guys alone to take on the U.S. guys. I
right.
mean, and this sort of attitude of, I mean, he was very savvy because he's on the world stage, he's in Europe, and he's like, hey, we don't want to be the American sort of bullies like, come on, world, take us on.
We'll take you on, yeah.
And 30% of the league, I think he said, is international.
Yeah.
So you have less players to choose from anyways. So I thought that was a good point.
Yeah, he was saying, how is it really fair? It is a little like, oh, look at us, big bad Americans. Like, this isn't the Olympics, right? And we also, by the way, saw some pretty damn entertaining games between one nation versus America.
Right.
Then there's the whole thing like, okay, the best players right now are generally all international. So there's that part too. But he was like, yeah, it's sort of like disrespectful to the international guys, because they might be like, no offense, like, why don't you just give me Team France?
Right.
And like, we'll take on you Americans or whatever country where you have a lot to pick from, Canada and a couple others.
I mean, France and very nearly walked away with gold over the summer,
for
right?
Sure, for sure.
And
it's just like, yeah, I was happy to hear him say that. Again, I know a lot of people probably watching right now, listening, they've been saying, try this.
Yeah.
By the way, we tried this in a Rising Stars game once upon a time. No one remembers that. No one cares.
No one cared.
It did nothing. It didn't change the competitive spirit. No. So that's why I'm like, I was happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Like, no. But then he definitely did not lean in this year to be like, don't worry, it's going to be competitive. It's back to basketball. Like I thought, he talked about the new format.
Yeah.
We talked to the players. We talked to the competition committee. Like this, we're trying this. But he was almost like, hey guys, we're trying.
We're doing our best. We talked to all the All-Stars, we do, I wonder how those conversations were, if they even happened. I mean, but yeah, there's a lot of pressure on him, obviously, and what's he supposed to say? I'm cautiously optimistic that the All-Star game will be good. I mean, we know it's not going to be, so.
Probably
maybe this new format.
Again, it doesn't matter the format. It just depends on some players, some leaders, let's generally call it as it is, like the vets, the LeBrons, the Currys, the KDs. Yeah. It's up to them.
Yeah.
It sort of is. To at least for a moment within this game, or from the jump. I mean, if you want to, make it as much like a real basketball game as possible. But it doesn't matter the format. Anyway. Yeah, I just thought it was funny how he generally was like, we'll see. We're trying it. Like, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
We'll give it a go.
Exactly.
If they've been brutal the last 2 years, we'll hope this one's better. And maybe it will be. I sort of believe Steph in the Bay, in front of his home crowd, might try and put on a show.
They should have it in Copenhagen.
Oh, wow. There you go. Great. What about Paris?
Well, trying to throw a bone to Copenhagen.
Oh, okay. And then as for the NBA European League, this came up a lot. Mm-hmm. And this was the most we've heard him basically say, this is happening.
Yeah.
We think what they're currently doing here, they're not really tapped into this market. They're leaving a lot of money left on the table. Yeah. And we run 5 leagues. They run a couple other leagues in addition to the NBA. Yes. We can do it better, and we'll do it here.
Right.
Intriguing to see how this one goes. And I almost feel like there was some reservations from a lot of the European press of the impact this could have on the European League as it is and how this goes. And maybe a trickle-down effect. Does this start taking out club teams, lower level and stuff like that? I guess it could, for sure.
I think the Europeans like their league.
Right.
I mean, we've seen Lee Ellis go to games and the atmosphere is insane.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't have a ton of basketball fans yet, but the ones that they have are very passionate about their teams, and they don't want to necessarily see them go away. But as he also said, the Europeans are a little more open to open leagues, right? Where an EPL team can play in the Champions League and so on. So
that's
what happens.
He sees dollar bills because it's a large commercial opportunity, especially in a setting now that they've got the huge TV deal. It's have we sort of plateaued in North America, so to speak? Mm-hmm. So this is a huge opportunity to make a bunch of money, and then like you said, maybe this opens up a bunch of things. But this is happening. I mean, he basically said. I know he tried to it's nothing official. We don't have dates or times and stuff like that yet, but this is gonna happen.
There's a reason. I mean, how many Spurs ex-Spurs did they have out there on the court tonight? I mean,
oh my God, the Spurs had it felt like an entire team.
Yeah.
I think it was 12 plus. It may have been closer to 15. Yeah. They brought all the legends out. Tony Parker, Boris Dia, Manu Ginobili.
Tiago Splitter.
Tiago Splitter, nice call. Wow. Yeah, who's the weirdest one? There were some.
There was guys I had never heard of.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, it's true. The Spurs, man, they take care of their guys.
Yeah.
Surprised Matt Bonner wasn't here.
Yeah, what the hell?
Well, I mean,
he's working.
He's got that's right. That's right. I mean, I had to remind myself sort of all week, especially at the games, that it's oh yeah, this is just a regular season game.
It felt like All-Star.
And for us here, too.
Something special.
Totally.
Right?
And the part, when the games are on for us here, and then you compare it to when the games are on East Coast time back in the States, it's we're in bed by the time the games are on. So it's you almost forget they're happening until you see the highlights the next morning.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened? Or you listen to Note, and it's oh, yeah, okay, that happened.
Yeah.
And you just feel so removed.
Yeah.
That it's this is like All-Star, yeah.
The fans here have to work so much harder to consume the game.
Yeah.
There's a guy who works here at the bar who was just desperate to get a ticket. He couldn't get a ticket, and shout out to Jan. We didn't come through for you, man.
His name was Jan, too. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. What did we tell him? We're very unlikely we fall into a ticket, but we will come back and give it to you if we do.
We had a few pops at that point, so we're well,
we'll get you in, don't you worry. And he was I'm not going to be here.
Yeah.
But he was but I don't know if these guys are real or not.
Yeah. Well, he looked us up, and I think he might be listening to this.
Okay, hey, man. Hey, well, hey, look. Bartender here at the Citizen M.
Jan.
Come to Atlanta.
Yeah.
I will guarantee you I'll give you tickets to the Hawks game. And he said he had a couple favorite teams. He was Cavs, Mavs, or whatever. I forget what. He had 4 teams that he liked. So that's on us.
Yeah.
Well, it's on the Hawks. We'll make sure.
Yeah. You have to get yourself there, though.
Yeah. You got to pay for your own ticket. Is there anything else, my man? I know I've asked that a couple times.
One more thing about Silver. Did we talk about the 3-point shooting?
Okay, we didn't talk about that.
I don't know if we.
It came up right at the end of the press conference, and he, talked about how the NBA has embraced analytics.
Yes.
Over the past decade, and that has increasingly recognized the value of a three-pointer, and teams have adjusted their offenses to obviously respect that and shoot more and take more. But his thing was, because everyone's oh, we gotta fix it. Right. Oh my God, this is honestly, it's turning into college basketball. That's sort of what I think.
Yes.
I used to crap on college ball 10 years ago because I was all they do is shoot threes. It's sort of it's not entertaining. NBA has sort of gone a little bit more that way. But he said, quote, this is Silver, I don't want to overreact, but I think there are potentially some adjustments we can make. So they recognize that it's maybe not the greatest, most entertaining product that the NBA can put on, but he was you can't overreact to this stuff. We can't immediately whatever, widen the court or allow this or allow that. Let it happen naturally, maybe.
Right.
The way they react.
Let the teams make the adjustments. He called out the Celtics, saying that their 3-pointers are down.
Yeah, he was look at them. They were shooting 1 million 3-pointers, hitting 1 million of them, and now look what's happening. Now they stink.
Now they can't hit them.
Yeah.
So relax is what he's saying.
Yeah, and then he made a comparison to the Olympic Games, where he's look at all the 3-pointers that were in those games.
Right.
In the gold medal games. No one complained about that.
Yeah.
There was high drama. It was amazing. It was true.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with them. Steph went off with 3-pointers at the Olympics, and it was amazing to watch.
It was amazing.
When 3-pointers are being hit, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Forget about the 3-pointers, guys. Focus on the last minute of the game. That's what we should be focused on.
To fix it from an entertainment standpoint.
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
And that is whatever, getting rid of timeouts, tweaking things in terms of just the flow and play. Yeah. That's you put all this work in, you watch these games, and then sometimes the final minute of a game can take 20 minutes. And that's nobody wants that.
Casuals like me are whatever.
I'm going to go check out pickleball.
Yeah.
Yeah, you literally just watched 2 basketball games over the span of 3 days.
In Paris. If you had told me 5 years ago, hey, you're going to go to Paris for 4 nights, and 2 of those nights you're going to be attending an NBA game, I would have punched you in the face.
Wow. You would have been offended.
I would have been excuse me.
You'd been no way I'm doing
I will
that.
be at Moulin Rouge on one of those nights and something else. I don't know.
Right.
Drinking in a bistro another night, but yeah, I don't know. Hey.
But you were into it.
I was definitely into it.
You were doing some work as well, but
Yeah.
like you were out there for a lot of it, watching it.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was fun.
This guy loves basketball.
I love basketball.
As long as it's in Paris.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it, yeah.
Yeah. Whenever there's a game in Paris, I'm happy to come and work. I mean, when we do the All-Star game, I almost never go to the All-Star game.
Well, I mean, that's the one. Hey, if you're going to pick one NBA basketball game to not go and see, make it the NBA All-Star game. That you have figured out.
Yeah.
But maybe all the other ones. Well, maybe we'll get you out there to some more Hawks games now that you got the bug.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
Has this made you like the Spurs or Pacers?
Spurs
anymore?
for sure.
Yeah. Oh,
and the Pacers, yeah. I mean, yeah. I was very impressed by the Spurs in general and Wemby. We already talked about it. You know the one guy who would have loved this?
Who?
Greg Popovich.
He would have loved to. He would talk about love this.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Cheers to Pop. Good health, hopefully, to Pop.
Yes. He's recovering, hopefully.
Yeah, he would. That's a great point. That is a great point. And Silver did address that.
He did.
Right off the top of his press conference, sending his best.
And the only other thing from the press conference is everybody wants a game in their country. Germany wants a game. I'm sure Denmark wants a game.
Oh yeah, everybody. Just you got to ask about it.
And
Silver has to say yeah. I would just love for him to have the balls to be like, where? Copenhagen? No fucking way. That'd be amazing. Stern would have done that, I feel like. He would like, no, we're not going there, buddy. Sorry. But Silver a little more diplomatic in his responses.
He should run for office after all this.
You think he's doing a decent job? I mean, a lot of people think it's like, had a super strong start to his commissioner tenure, and maybe he's in a lull now, trying to fix All-Star games and fix the game itself. And, he's too kind with the players, and maybe he veered one way too strongly, where Stern was more of an owner's guy.
I mean,
there's some truth to that.
Look, when you meet a politician, I'm talking about any politician, or a Survivor player, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like somebody you might hate, and you are in the same room with them. It's like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
Like seeing for a full hour, seeing Silver like just work the room, and like you take questions with such poise, you know what I mean? Like it's just like he's actually a charming guy to be around in real life.
He is, and he's like self-deprecating enough to know like, oh, these are long answers.
Yeah.
So, like he made a joke about that.
He did, yeah.
Like, and do we have time still? And blah blah blah, like sort of apologizing, I guess. But look, I think overall this was a huge success with the Wembanyama factor. And again, like we haven't had a really good game here yet for the French fans, but it felt, and like of course we weren't here for the other ones, but to me, in just like watching it even through social media, it felt like the Pacers and Spurs, their teams, creative teams, their entire squad, right, really like did like way more stuff here. Yeah. Than just like fly over here, here's a game, everybody. Right. Donovan Mitchell scored 45 against the Nets. Okay, bye. It felt like just like they're like the Pacers were doing these like scavenger hunts. Yeah. That like completely like blew up, and like to get free tickets and stuff like that. And the Spurs were everywhere, and obviously jerseys and stuff. Like they just like, and maybe a part of that was like they were here so long.
2 games.
The 2 games, and I think that's a way to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's smart. Yeah. Because you can like take over parts of the city and do fun things like build your fan base. Yeah. So I think overall very successful.
I'm happy.
I'm happy as well. Cheers to you, my man.
Cheers to you.
A great
work.
Fun week with JD cranking out the content. Obviously, hit the social media channels to see all the shorts we've done and all the photos we've shared and stuff like that. We just did a fun one with Christian and Scooby, as we said, so go check that out if you're catching this somewhat soon after we post it. Otherwise, back on a 10-hour flight tomorrow. Oh, no big deal. You think we're going to be able to lie down tomorrow?
I'm going to be sitting in my seat just like waiting for the food.
Yeah, see, this is interesting because now we're not flying red eye.
Yeah.
So are you gonna stay up? You're gonna raw dog this flight for 10 hours?
I'm not raw dogging, and I'll be watching probably 3 or 4 movies.
So you are gonna stay up.
I'm staying up.
Be terribly exhausted when you get home, and then just force it.
Yeah, I mean, you get home and it's like what?
We're gonna get home at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Which is like I guess 9 or 10 for us.
Yeah, not brutal.
So it's fine. I'll go to bed at 8.
Famous last words.
Yeah,
We'll see. Watch him cancel Monday's
Monday.
podcast.
Yeah,
that's gonna be rough.
I'm not going to be a happy guy then.
But in theory, we will all be back together in the Classic Factory on Monday for some NBA weekend winners and losers. I'm sure the guys in Tass and Trey will have more questions about Paris for us. So yeah, check that out. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Share the show. If you're new here for whatever reason, maybe you just stumbled upon this as a French fan.
Yeah,
looking
it's not
for
always
a breakdown.
like
It's as if you just showed up at Tass Mellis's house during the holiday party. It's not usually like this. That couch isn't there. That table's not there. It's never like this. He's never talked this much.
No, you're right.
But he should more often. He's a natural. But we'll be back on Monday. Appreciate everyone for all the likes and the shares and everything while we've been here. We have had a blast. Thanks to The Athletic, obviously, for getting us over here. And hopefully we'll do it again.
Cheers.
Until Monday. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Oh, you said it better than I did.
Yeah.
She